Hey guys, so we are just a few weeks away from the Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio. Of course, most of the talk centers on the Open show. Samson Dauda, the reigning Mr. Olympia, going into that. Former Mr. Olympia Derek Lunsford going up against him, along with Andrew Jack, Carlos Thomas. Great lineup. But what about Classic Physique? Classic Physique, we do have an amazing lineup as well. I want to focus on two guys today. I know I'm leaving a bunch of guys out of the conversation, but that's what videos do. Mike Sommerfeld was runner-up to Chris Bumstead at this past Olympia. Chris Bumstead's sixth win. Wesley Vissers was down in eighth place. Yikes! I'm sorry. He was eighth place. So it would seem like these two going into the Arnold Classic, Mike's got the upper hand. However, don't forget, Wesley beat him the year before at the Olympia. The 2023 Olympia, Wesley was seventh place. Mike was eighth place. Of course, you could say Mike's done so much improving since then, and I wouldn't argue with that. However, I don't think we saw Wesley's best at this last Olympia. But what I want to start off with is some edits that were done by Ivan Bodybuilding. So I want to make sure he gets proper credit because I did not edit these. He did. Ivan Bodybuilding did this. So I'm taking these away from him. But if you want to see the full video with all his excellent commentary, go to Ivan Bodybuilding. But here's the first matchup between these two guys who are going to face off in a few weeks. You're on a Classic. So front double bicep. Remember, Classic doesn't do all the same poses as Open. I'm more impressed with Wesley in this. He's a big dude. He's got those biceps that look so much like Arnold Schwarzenegger's. Now, he does have a longer waist, a little wider waist. Sommerfeld's overall shape and structure, a little more pleasing to the eye. But I could also argue Mike's more of a bodybuilder. What's the difference between bodybuilder and physique? Well, nobody seems to have the definitive answer to that. I mean, what is Classic Physique? How is it different from bodybuilding? Is it just bodybuilders with really good shape? Sommerfeld's a straight-up bodybuilder. I feel like he would do well in 212 bodybuilding for sure if he decided to go that route. But in this pose, even though Mike does have him on the leg size, certainly more massive thighs. Look at that again. I like Wesley's condition, that muscle maturity. He's got that, I don't want to say old man muscle because I think he's only about 30, 32 or 33. He's a young guy, but he does have better muscle separation and detail. What I see going on with Mike, it's kind of a very similar situation to Derek Lunsford, where the front, especially the torso, doesn't have the same degree of separation, definition as the back, as we'll see in a little bit. But I know overall shape, structure, I'd probably give Mike this pose. But honestly, I like Wesley in this pose. That's up for debate. It's up for interpretation. And that's up to the judges to figure out. But let's go to the next couple poses. Side chest. All right, so you're going to be drawn to the fact that Mike's hamstrings are much larger than Wesley's. We know that Wesley's hamstrings are a weak point. He needs more glute development, he needs more hamstring development. However, look at the difference between the upper body. Again, what we're talking about here is the muscle separation, the quality of the muscle, deep striations, deep separations. Look at the delt. Mike has no stripes in that delt. Wesley's got some nice separations and striations going on in the delt. Now they're going to go into a back shot. So here, Mike gets him. The same way Lunsford gets most people is in the back shots. You can see Mike has lower lat development. His lats insert much lower. There's more thickness, where Wesley has those high lats where there's that gap, where there's really no muscle tissue going on there for a good 6-8 inches between the lats and the top of his trunks. There's no muscle mass there. Obviously, the glutes, another thing, glutes and hams. Sommerfeld has superior development in the glutes and the hams, although, as Ivan pointed out in his video, it's not as different as you would think, because from the front, Mike's legs look much larger. From the side, they look much larger. From the back, it's not as big of a difference as you might think. But Wesley definitely does need a little bit more glute development. Certainly striations aren't there like Sommerfeld has those really deep, crystal clear striations in the glutes. And that's a more impressive back. He wins the back shot. There's no question in my mind. So these are both of these guys at their best. Sommerfeld at the Olympia, and these are shots from Wesley at last year's Arnold. Going into the final round here. Classic, your favorite classic pose. I don't even know how they judge that. They both look pretty damn good here. I like that Sommerfeld. I like that pose that he's doing there. The single bicep with the one arm up. Wesley's doing the twisting. I don't even know how they judge that. How can you judge? Because some guys will hit totally different poses. Have nothing. You can't compare like a back pose to a front pose or a side pose to a front pose. They're completely different. So I don't know. I get the feeling these are for the crowd. So we're left with abdominal and thigh, the only other shot the classic guys do. Okay, Sommerfeld's got him here by a mile. It's not even close. Sommerfeld blows him away in the abdominal and thigh shot. Superior thigh development, better ab development. It's a more complete physique that Sommerfeld shows here, where Wesley, you could see, even if you didn't know how tall Wesley is, and he is a tall guy, he's about 6'2", 6'3" maybe, you would know looking at that structure, this is probably a tall guy, and he is. And Sommerfeld's a shorter guy. I would say Mike's probably about 5'6", 5'7", somewhere in that area. You can never tell. So I think it's pretty close. Neither one of them wins all the poses. Let's take a look at some individual stuff. Let's take a look at Sommerfeld from the last Olympia. So this is the best Mike Sommerfeld we'd ever seen. Like I said, I followed this guy for a few years, and I was a fan. I thought this guy looked pretty damn great. But did I think he would ever be pushing for the Olympia title? No, not really. But he surprised us all. Came back with a little bit more mass. He's got this beautiful shape and structure. And he did. He took it all the way to second place to Bumstead. And many people felt that this was one of Bumstead's least dominant wins, where certain arguments could have been made for Sommerfeld. I don't know. I still had Bumstead winning that very, very clearly. However, Mike does show some amazing development here. Those legs are phenomenal. The quads, the hams. His overall shape and structure is just very, very pleasing. That front lat spread, which is that's not a pose you get to hit in the judging. Neither is the side tricep, but these are all optional poses. In your posing routine in Classic, you can do whatever you want. You could hit a bunch of most musculars if you want. But Mike does a fantastic job of really highlighting his strong points, his symmetry, his shape, his proportions. Guy's really put together. I'm a fan of this guy. Only thing I would like to see, a little bit more peaked biceps like Wesley has. I know that's a genetic thing. Condition is fantastic from the back. I'd like to see the same level of muscle separation and quality and maturity in the torso from the front. Again, that's something that we also see with Derek Lunsford. So I don't think it's got anything to do with the way he trains or anything. I think it's sort of a genetic luck of the draw situation. So he looked phenomenal here. Most people do see him as the heir apparent for the Olympia title, the Classic Physique Olympia title, which is vacant now that Bumstead has retired. However, don't forget Rough Diesel. Terrence Ruffin is coming back this year. He's been putting on size. So first I'll show you Wesley at the Olympia. I feel this was a flat version of Wesley. His legs really flattened out versus what we had seen in the Arnold Classic a few months before. Still has a lot of strong points. Still has a lot going for him. Don't get me wrong. But this was not the Wesley we had seen in Columbus or was it London that they had the UK show? The Arnold UK? I'm just going to assume it was London, although I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time, as you know. So this was a flatter version of Wesley. Still very, very impressive. But Olympia has not been Wesley's show. He never seems to bring his very best to the Olympia. He's been struggling to be, he's usually 7th, 8th, 9th, something like that. He has not broken the top 5 at the Olympia yet, whereas Mike, as we just saw, was a very, very solid second place to Bumstead. On paper, Sommerfeld is easily the guy to beat at this Arnold Classic, and the show is probably his. But, and I know Daboul also beat, there's some other guys going in. Michael Daboul is going into this Arnold, and he beat Wesley at the Olympia. But again, I feel this was not the best version of Wesley. Just to contrast it with you, this was Wesley at the Arnold UK last year, where he won. He had won 2 in a row. He won the Arnold USA in Columbus and heads over to UK. Did the same thing Hadi Choopan did, swept both shows very convincingly. And, he was not a favorite going into the Columbus show because he never had really high placings before. He's got a lot of fans. He's he's a very good guy. Everyone loves Wesley. He's got his own little media empire, his YouTube channel, his social media does very well. Look at Arnold. Arnold's a fan. Arnold getting up close there to, I don't know what he's doing, a TikTok or an Instagram reel. I'm not really sure what Arnold was doing there, but Arnold's a fan. Arnold likes that physique because he's been compared, Wesley, many, many times to Arnold Schwarzenegger. They do have a lot of physical similarities. So strong points Wesley's got for him. Obviously, he's a very tall guy. He's a big dude. He's got those crazy arms. Look at that separation. Crazy separation between all the upper arm muscle groups, the brachialis, the biceps, the triceps, his back, just riddled, crazy splits and detail everywhere. He pulls that great vacuum. It's a very impressive physique. Let's see what you guys have to say. Wesley has genetics, that goat of classic look. I mean, when we ask people, what do you consider the ultimate classic physique? I don't think you're going to get the same answer from many people. I think everyone's got their own idea, because even though the division's been around for 9 years now, classic physique, it's still open to interpretation. What is classic? How is it supposed to be different from bodybuilding? Obviously, the first thing you could just say was, well, they're not as big. They have a weight limit for their height. Okay, that's easy enough. But it's a different look. Obviously, they're supposed to have better aesthetics, a smaller waist, more of a V taper. Definitely have to have a really good midsection, plenty of detail in the abdominals, the serratus. I believe muscle quality should be a factor that the judges are looking for. Shouldn't be just big muscles with no separation. I think it should be real quality muscle, as they used to say, with a lot of deep separations, split striations, just so much to look at, so much going on, like a fine diamond, something that's got so much detail to look at. It will be interesting in our BB world. Yes, absolutely. So what do you guys think? Obviously, Sommerfeld is the heavy favorite, but heavy favorites have been beaten many times before. We've seen guys come from back of the pack. Sometimes a guy was never better than 5th, 7th, 8th place before, and he makes improvements, and comes back and wins. Why don't we take a look at some of their updates? Because I haven't really been paying attention to their updates. So let's see how Mike's looking as we're about, are we 5 weeks away now? Are we 6 weeks away? Mike the Badass. I do like his Instagram handle. Mike the Badass. Mike Sommerfeld. Yeah. All right, let's take a look. See how he's looking right now. I have no doubt he's going to be in great shape. That's head coach. Who's his coach? Yoda, Neil Hill. There you go. Okay, these are all pinned, so that means they're old. That was him with Stefan? No, who is that? I don't know who that is. Is that his old coach? I don't know. Well, let's go to more updates. So this was taken today, it looks like. It was posted today. Who's he here with? That's not Sam Sulek, is it? I don't. Daddy Aioli. Some social media phenomenon I should know all about. Yeah, Mike is looking great. But again, I don't know if Mike, to me, Mike's a bodybuilder. I know he's doing well in Classic, but I think he would do equally well in 212. Just like Keon Pearson was a really, really good Classic Physique competitor. He didn't stay there very long. He moved on to 212, put some size on, and the rest is history. He's the Olympia champ now. This was posted today as well. Condition is coming right in on track, as I would expect. Look at those. Okay, so now I'm seeing more detail in the upper body, and that's encouraging. What about the delts? We got any shots to look at the delts? But look at those cross striations in the triceps. That's cool. I like to see that. I like to see the more detail, the better, because you could have a lot of muscle mass, but without the detail and the separations and stuff, it's just not as impressive. I love the way this guy's physique flows, and he's an excellent poser. He really knows how to angle his hips, shoulders, everything's in perfect position to highlight his physique. What's he with Hulk Hogan there? That's not Hulk Hogan. It's Ben Hewlin. I should know Ben. Ben used to post on MD. Looks like Hulk Hogan there, though, doesn't he? Yeah, looks freaking great. Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if Mike doesn't win, but I wouldn't be overly shocked if Wesley's somehow able to pull this out and do it. All right, let's take a look at Wesley. real brief, and then I'm going to walk. Wesley Vissers. Okay, Wesley's Insta. How's he doing on? Who? Nope. Okay. All right. So this is pinned. This is from last year's Arnold. You look great. This is the top of his page. This is pinned. Again, I'm just a real fan of all that deep, clear separation, which it looks like Mike's actually getting more of. Yeah, and I mean, who wouldn't want to be up there interviewed by Arnold after winning his show? How great is that? Twisting shot. Okay, there's Urs. Look at that. This is what I'm talking about, guys. That is some dry, striated, quality muscle tissue right there. It just doesn't get any better than that. I mean, you can see every fiber of his delts. Even with his arms down, you can see the separation between the lateral head of the triceps and the brachialis. Brachialis and his bicep there. Very, very impressive. And this was 3 weeks ago. So condition, I never doubt what these guys are going to be in shape. That's an old shot right there. That's an old shot. This is 40 days before he's posing with the shirt. Well, that doesn't do us anything. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Wesley. I like both of these guys. See, here's an interesting thing. When guys have high lats, it's not as evident in the rear lat spread because you're really focusing on, look how far those lats go out to the side there. It's almost like a 90-degree angle. It's crazy. But in the rear double, you can typically see when somebody has high. Like there's his rear double. You could see the gap there where there's just a waist. And there's been guys like Dennis Wolf who had the same exact lat attachments. Didn't really hurt them in the long run. There's a good one from how old was he in the first one? I don't know. It's a young Wesley versus the current version of Wesley. Yeah, looks pretty damn great. So what else you got to say? Mr. Ryan, Brianna said I changed the vision. You think he would end up having a better shot to Wesley and Mike? I don't see Breon beating Mike. No. I mean, Mike soundly beat him at the last Olympia. Mike was second. Breon was fifth. I think Breon was just starting to slide down in Classic as the younger guys just were coming up and getting better and better. And he wasn't able to get any better at that weight that he was, the weight cap, which the highest point, 187, which was significantly higher. I think when he started Classic, he was in it the first year. I think his weight cap back then was like 175 or 176. It went up to like 180 and then it went up to 187. But no, he couldn't improve. And a lot of these other guys like Urs, Mike, they had room to grow. Even Bumstead, they had room to grow into the weight cap, and he didn't. So that really hurt him. But I do see this coming down to those two guys. I'd be very, very surprised. And I don't say this to disparage any other competitors. There's some other guys in the lineup that are great, and they all have a chance. Logan Franklin's very good. Michael Daboul is excellent. He's an Arnold Classic UK winner himself. It could be anybody's show. You never know what's going to happen. Stranger things have happened than somebody coming from somebody you didn't even expect showing up and just blowing the show away. It could happen. I mean, nobody expected Sommerfeld to look as good as he did and place as well as he did at this last Olympia. Nobody expected last year prior to the Arnold Classic, Wesley was going to blow that show away, and he did. He was not a favorite. He was not a heavy favorite at all for that show, but he did it. So you never know, guys. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to do a quick one today talking about these two guys. I think they're both fantastic competitors. Mike Sommerfeld, obviously the heavy, heavy favorite as the current Olympia Classic Physique runner-up. Wesley is the defending champion of the Arnold Classic and the Arnold Classic UK, which it doesn't look like we're going to get an Arnold Classic UK. There's been no word of it yet. So that's it. Tell me in the comments, guys, what do you think? Is this going to be a blowout where Sommerfeld just wipes the floor with everybody? Or does Wesley have a chance? Could he pull off an upset here, get the win? Or could it be someone else entirely? Someone I didn't really talk about. You tell me in the comments, guys. Always anxious to hear what you think. Appreciate you watching. Have an awesome weekend, and I will talk to you later.